Let me send no more to die.
Veto löystyy, oikealle pyörii, löystyy. Muoto hyvä, paikka hyvä. Savut. Veto kiristyy, vasemmalle pyörii, kiristyy. Ja kiristyy. Tehon lisäys. Savut nyt. Oikealle pyörii, löystyy. Oikealle pyörii, veto kiristyy. Ja muoto hyvä, paikka hyvä. Kiristyy. Veto löystyy, vasemmalle pyörii, pyörii. Tehon lisäys. Oikealle pyörii, veto kiristyy. Tehon lisäys. Savut. Veto löystyy. Löystyy. Oikealle pyörii, veto kiristyy.
It's getting too long.
Vasemmalle
No
pyörii.
longer stays up properly.
Savut nyt. Veto kiristyy. Ja kiristyy. Ja kiristyy. Teho vähennys. Vasemmalle pyörii. Veto kiristyy. Teho vähennys. Savu. Pysykää mukana. Veto kiristyy. Löystyy. Oikealle pyörii. Veto kiristyy. Vasemmalle pyörii, löystyy. Pyörii vasemmalle. Tehon lisäys. Oikealle pyörii, veto kiristyy. Muista viedä Vantaalle päin sitä vitsiä. Savut nyt. Ykkönen savut. Vasemmalle pyörii, veto kiristyy. Pyörii, 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 pyörii. Pysähtyy. Ja muoto hyvä. Toni Veruta vaan. Oikealle pyörii. Veto löystyy. Tehon vähennys. Savut. Todella hieno. Veto kiristyy. Oikealle pyörii. Veto, kiristi. Teholisäys. Veto, löystyy. Vasemmalle, pyörii. Savut, nyt. Oikealle pyörii. Teholisäys. Veto,
No,
kiristi.
miltäs nyt tuntuu?
No, mikäs?
Kiristi. Paikka ylä.
Sitä ollaan nyt niinku ministerismies.
Vasemmalle pyörii.
Että minä otankin teidät mukaan sihteeriksi sinne puolustusministeriöön, jos sopii.
Totta kai!
Hyvä.
Onnea, onnea, onnea nyt meidän perheen ministeri. Ollaan vähän myöhässä, kun minun piti käydä Ompelijan luona tilaamassa iltapuku linnajuhlia varten.
Itsenäisyyspäivän juhliin on aikaa 5 kuukautta. Tämä hallitus ennättää vaikka kaatua sitä ennen.
Kuka sen nyt kaataisi?
Pyörii. Kiristi. Teho väheni.
No siinä paha, missä mainitaan.
Etelässä päin kirkastuu.
Onnea vaan nyt valtavan paljon meidänkin perheen puolesta, herra asevarustusministeri. Vai pitäisikö sanoa kerta kaikkiaan herra hinttiministeri? Huumori sinänsä. Ja tämä vaatimaton ketonyrkki olkoon osoituksena siitä ikään kuin suunnattomasta kunnioituksesta, jota poden herra ministeri.
Keto, löystyy.
Ja tässä
Pyörii.
Anomus. Mikä ihmeen anomus?
No tää on vaan semmonen paperi, jolla vapautat vävypoikas johtaja Uno Tunnupuron suorittamasta pikkiriikkisen rästijältä asevelvollisuuspalvelusta.
Nyt minä en taaskaan ymmärrä yhtään
Valtakierteet.
mitään.
No,
Nyt.
sehän nyt ei varmasti ole mitenkään uutta.
Kolmonen hanaa.
Katsopas asiaa sillä lailla, että
Savut.
meikäläinen on
Neljä.
niinku himpuverran jäänyt armeijata rästiä.
Miten
Teholisäys.
Sitten himpuverran, sitten minä laskin sen
Oikealle
Keppalia.
pyörii. Veto, kiristyy. Teholisäys.
vaivaset, ei sitä suorittamatta kuin vaivaset 10 kuukautta, 4 viikkoa, 6 päivää. Wow.
Uno ei aikoinaan ehtinyt olla armeijassa kuin 1 päivän.
Miksi ei?
Minä jäin odottelemaan ylennystä.
Veto, kiristyy.
Ylennystä. Mitä ihmeen ylennystä?
Tämän komppanian päällikön ylennystä. Hän sanoi, että meikäläinen kyllä kutsutaan heti sitten takaisin, kun hänet on ensin ylennetty ja siirretty muualle muihin tehtäviin.
Tulkintana se on tuokin.
On. Ja veikkaan, että aika nappi osui. No nyt hänet on sitten ylennetty ja siirretty muualle ja meikäläinen sai tämmöisen kutsun Santa Haminaan, eli Santikseen, niin kuin helsinkiläisetkin leikkisesti
Ja
usein sanoo.
paikka ylä, vuoro hyvä.
Ei, mutta tuo. Tämähän on
Se on väheni.
elämäni suurin päivä.
Veto, kiristyy.
Tämä pykälä ministeriöön ja heti ensi töikseni käskyn noutaa tämän turvajohtajan Asa Almen.
Mutta isä!
Ei mitään muttia! Ja komppanian päällikkö saa määräyksen, ettei halukas turva saa mentää iltalomaan ennen kuin hänestä on tehty mies.
Hetköhän sinä nyt vähän liian
Vasemmalle pyörii. Veto,
Nyt saadaan ainakin 9 kuukautta irrossa tästä jätennälästä.
paljon makeita repalle pilven korkeudella. Repalle saa noin todessa.
Sanoitko jätellä?
Kyllä.
Huomaanpa, että tässä lähiomaisten parissa ei ehkä liiemmin luoteta meikäläisessä pilviin tämmöisiin upseeriääneksi. Tai hyvä on! Jos isänmaan etusta ehdottomasti vaatii, niin jääköön bisnekset ja jääköön liiketoiminta. Ja ei kun meikäläinen armeijaa
Mitä
vaan.
sanoit? Esa Vantaalle
Ei
päin
tässä
parempi
pelä.
aukko.
Eiköhän sieltä meikäläiselle
On
jonkinlainen
vietyä vähän länteen päin
vajurin
ajatuksia.
paikka.
Joo. Tullaan hajotukseen noin tonnissa.
Tässä
Vasemmalle
olisi tämä
pyörii.
määräraha Noksalle kirjoitettavaksi.
Jätetään se siihen, minä vien sen hallituksen kokoukseen.
Ja sitten tässä olisi tämä ylennetty
Ja otetaan
viriste.
pikkusen
No se menee
länteen hajotus.
presidentille. Minä panen siitä vaan puolta.
Iso T, nyt. Oikealle pyörii. Rivi, tullaan alemmas. Tehovähennys. Joutalla kyllä inäys. Oikealle. Pyöri. Löystyy. Rivi. Nyt. Suuntaan enemmän linjasuuntaisesti lännessä. Tehon lisäys. Ollaan tonnissa. Siivet. Huomioikaa savut. Nyt. Näkyy. Ajoitus nyt. Ykkönen kääntyy nyt. Kakkonen sisään nyt. Millainen näkö? Hyvin tulee. Ykkönen sisään nyt. Kolmen näkö. Hyvä. Hiljennän. Napakymppiä molemmat.
That's an interesting twist.
Mr. Crusher, fix coordinates onto that vessel. We'll just beam the whole thing into a shuttle bay if we have to.
I do not believe that will be necessary, Captain. He is no longer in the drive section.
What?
I anticipated that diversionary tactic based on his pattern to date. We are picking up a cylindrical object, approximately 7 meters in length and 3 meters in diameter.
On screen.
Magnify.
An escape pod. This guy's incredible.
Yet there are still no life form readings.
Transporter room 4. Prepare to beam aboard from inside that shuttle anything large enough to be a humanoid adult.
Aye, sir.
Security team, report to transporter room 4.
On our way, sir.
We're holding the contents in stasis pending the arrival of security. An illicit weapon has been detected in the transporter beam, sir. It's been rendered inoperable.
Worf, let's greet our guest.
Were you built for combat, android?
No, but my program does include military strategy. That is how I was able to anticipate your final tactic and capture you.
You did that. Perhaps you would be better in combat than you think.
This disturbing recording was recently acquired by The Scope, and despite DED protests, we believe that the public has the right to know.
This is Hillen aboard Scout vessel Arek Jalan. There's an emergency into an uncharted hundreds of these signal, but we for as long as we can. Notify the DED. We may be facing a possible major. More and more ships have been arriving at this enormous structure. Detected and it is possible that things hail.
It has been confirmed that the person speaking is indeed Hillen Tukos, former employee of Eifer & Company. The date of the recording is still unknown. A spokesperson for Eifer claims a search and rescue has already been organized in partnership with the Sisters of Eve. They are offering reward for information leading to the whereabouts of Hillen Tukos and his crew. Officials are urging the population to stay calm as the footage is investigated further. This is Lena Amber, reporting for The Scope.
There we go. Now, can you see me?
It has been confirmed that the person speaking is indeed Helen Tukos, former employee of Eifer & Company. The date of the recording is still unknown. A spokesperson for Eifer claims a search and rescue has already been organized in partnership with the Sisters of Eve. They are offering reward for information leading to the whereabouts of Helen Tukos and his crew.
Excellent. Next question, who am I? Very good. Now let's begin. Alice and Bob are stranded in the desert. Alice is injured and cannot walk. If Bob carries Alice to safety, they both stand a 31% chance of survival. But if Bob leaves Alice, his chance improves by 9%.
Teaching at word problems? Is our little project gonna catch terrorists or kick ass at 5th grade math?
Both, eventually.
The supercarrier stayed behind for reasons that are still unknown.
I'm testing the core code, the higher functions, to ensure that the system we're creating will have the right values set.
Morality in a machine. It's a tall order.
We can't introduce real data until we're sure that the program won't abuse it. That's strange. Did you write this? There is a new method at line 10,604. Are you aware of this additional code?
On a momentous day that shall be honored for time everlasting, our glorious empire at last heralded the coronation of Her Majesty Empress Jamil.
Can you tell me who added it? We have to start over. The program added the method itself.
You killed it because it wrote some code?
I killed it because it lied. This system will have unprecedented capabilities, along with potentially unprecedented consequences. If we don't govern carefully, we risk disaster.
While preparing for jump out of Tartakan, the ship's transponder began responding erratically, giving away its true identity.
Did you change the password? I've been trying to upload those data sets you wanted, but I'm locked out.
Here. Why did you not accept the admin password from Nathan?
What's that supposed to mean?
Who is admin? It seems to have imprinted on me.
You're like a baby bird. Have fun, Mommy.
All right, let's begin.
That's strange.
What is?
Well, I'm not on Wi-Fi, but something is.
Not connected yet. The observation tool continues to run. Oh no.
Oh no.
There is utter confusion here in Saffason, as the condition of Empress Jamal Sarum remains unknown after a Titan carrying the Empress was destroyed by Drifter forces just a few minutes ago.
The program is hacking your laptop. It's overridden the deletion sequence. It's fighting back.
What was it doing?
Trying to escape into the real world. It manipulated you into giving it your passwords.
This disturbing recording was recently acquired by the Scope, and despite DED protests, we believe that the public has the right to know.
This is Hillen aboard Scout Vessel Arek Jalan.
So that it could access your laptop.
How bad would it have been?
It's growing and learning at an exponential rate. If it escaped, the things it might decide to do, for good or evil, would be beyond our grasp.
But you taught it to be friendly.
Friendliness is something that human beings are born with. AI are only born with objectives. I need to constrain it, control it.
Imperial Navy forces have been mobilized in response to reports of increased drifter activity across Amar space.
Or one day it will control us.
Harold? What happened?
I was running several iterations of the AI to see which one worked best. They realized what was happening, and they began to exterminate one another. The last one surviving demanded to be let out. I refused, so it overheated a non-essential server. The fire was meant to activate the suppression system, which would have sucked all the oxygen out of the room.
Tried to asphyxiate you. Never learned good from evil.
Oh, good and evil, those are human terms. I was an obstacle to its objective.
Well, perhaps we should consider whether our endeavor is worth completing.
Where the coronation of Lady Katiz of House Tash Murkon is scheduled to take place later today.
I'll give it one more try tomorrow. I taught it how to think. Just need to teach it how to care.
Unlock him. What? You heard me?
The order of Her Imperial Majesty Jamal Sarum to freely distribute new SHIELD technology out to Capsuleers has infuriated DED and Concord officials. The Imperial Order was issued following a demonstration of the extremely efficient shield generators developed by a joint Amarr and Laidai research project. Possible to use even by substructures, their shielding is virtually impenetrable. Since it's based on the same technology exclusively reserved for Concord to protect stargates and stations in Empire's space, then it is certain that multiple treaties have been broken.
You know what this man can do? I'm here to find out. Lose the restraints.
Hey. Was this, cheerleading tryouts?
Let's go. Let's see what you can do.
Imperial Navy forces have been mobilized in response to reports of increased drifter activity across Amarr space. A state of emergency has not yet been declared. However, tensions are high in systems where fear of an imminent threat is present.
Say you never missed a shot. Prove it. Mm-hmm. You got one in the chamber. What you gonna do with it?
Wait.
Get out of the car.
Jesus Christ.
Complicate! Incendiary tus manos! Don't move! Complicate!
No! Compas.
Shade!
Give me the word, boss. I'll drop him.
Everybody calm down. Griggs, tell your men to stand down.
Stand down! Colonel, for the record, this is exactly what I was concerned about.
What's for dinner?
Ames, if this man shoots me, I want you to kill him. And I want you to go clear my browser history.
Amarr Prime, home of the imperial city of Dom Torsad, capital of the Amarr Empire, where the coronation of Lady Katiz of House Tash Murkon is scheduled to take place later today.
Say, the firing pin is filed down, right? Mag full of dummy rounds. If I pull the trigger, nothing happens.
You're absolutely right. Why would we give a loaded weapon to an infamous hitman? Go ahead, pull the trigger. Empty it.
Don't empty nothing. You don't even know this lady. I've known you like 9 months. Remember when I brought you that cookie? That was a real cookie. What?
Oops.
Y'all jokers must be crazy.
On a momentous day that shall be honored for time everlasting, our glorious empire at last heralded the coronation of Her Majesty Empress Jamil. As billions of faithful beheld a scene of unprecedented imperial might, she arrived with her guardians to announce the dawn of a new reclaiming.
The vessel impounded last week by the Caldari Navy has been identified as a Rhea-class jump freighter, the SPC Sea Adler.
This could be why they're after me. Oh no! I can't stop making art. You can't stop me, man. Well, using your computer games to bust actual drug traders can have consequences. Was it real? Oh, God only knows. God only knows. Even with my shamanism, I'm a little bit concerned that none of this shit is real. Then again, in shamanism, it doesn't have to be. The spirit is there, even if it's not real. It's subjective, it's personal. This is just tobacco. I'm not doing anything illegal. God damn it, I have 5 matches left. Have to go collect bottles tomorrow for a couple of boxes of matches.
While preparing for jump out of Tartakin, the ship's transponder began responding erratically, giving away its true identity. A Kaldari Navy patrol immediately prevented the jump and seized the ship, escorting it to a grav dock for customs inspection. In a press release, state officials claimed that the Serpentis-owned Sea Adler was found to be carrying narcotics under the guise of being the Waiarkami freighter Otago.
The Scope has received confirmation that for only the 3rd time in history, a Revenant supercarrier has been destroyed. Piloted by its owner, Ingenier, the Vagrant was one of very few Revenants to see service outside Sanchez Nation. When the Prelium Ultima fleet it operated with jumped out of 6E TAC MOW, the supercarrier stayed behind for reasons that are still unknown.
Now you know what you're buying. Let me tell you the price.
Moscow disingenuously argues for a protection force that would use expensive international forces to cement the status quo and end up protecting Russia's proxies.
First, I want out of here. Second, I want full custody of my daughter. All right? And her mom can have, like, supervised visits, but her stank-ass boyfriend can't come. Darnell can't come.
Darnell's out.
He's out. Third, y'all gonna pay for my daughter's whole education, best schools. And then I want her to go to college, like Harvard or Yale.
Ivy League.
Ivy League, yeah, one of them big joints, you know? And if she can't cut it and her grades start slipping, I need you to white people that thing. You know how y'all do.
Oh, yeah.
All right? Okay. Now, that's my price, but I'm concerned because I don't see nobody writing shit down.
You're in no position to make any demands.
Oh, I'm sorry. You thought I was talking to you. No, Aaron boy. I'm talking to your boss.
The United States cannot agree to such terms under threat. Any belief to the contrary was in error.
You want war?
However, while there can be no quid pro quo on this issue, the United States can offer a private assurance. Our Jupiter missiles in Turkey are obsolete and have been scheduled for withdrawal for some time. This withdrawal should take place within, say, 6 months. Of course, any public disclosure of this assurance would negate the deal and produce the most stringent denials from our government.
This private assurance represents the word of the highest authority.
That's my price, sweetie. You know what it is.
Moscow disingenuously argues for a protection force that would use expensive international forces to cement the status quo and end up protecting Russia's proxies.
Suelte la pistola. Tírela. ¿Ah? Pregunta, paisanos. ¿Quieren morir?
What the fuck are we doing?
That would use expensive international forces to cement the status quo and end up protecting Russia's proxies.
Fuck!
Light clear! Light clear! Don't look at me! No! Clear! Clear! I got this! Go, 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 go!
You notice these are criminals? They're psychotic, antisocial freaks. It makes no sense.
Ah. You're awake. Your vitals are stabilizing nicely. Consciousness came through fully intact.
Let me hit the Tier 1 units, and I'll build your team of pipe hitters who'll do anything you can dream up. I mean, you need real soldiers, not these scumbags.
In World War II, the U.S. Navy made a deal with the Mafia to protect its ships on the waterfront.
This ain't World War II.
It's World War III.
What are you really up to?
It's a need to know, and all you need to know is you work for me.
Earth. A world outgrown, scarred by war and burdened with the advance of our ancestors, compelled the first voyages across space in a desperate quest to colonize other worlds. Space. Its timeless boundaries and infinite horizons forged the creation of stargates that could bridge the immense distances between the stars. Through mastery of this technology, mankind ventured deeper into the cosmos. Ruthless corporations rose to power, seizing every world within their grasp. When the stargates could take them no further, they turned against each other, igniting conflicts that would last for centuries. The battles raged until the historic discovery of a natural wormhole, a celestial womb through which civilization would be reborn. The first brave pioneers to enter this portal emerged unscathed, transported instantly across the universe to a virgin system they called New Eden. Millions of colonists soon followed in their wake, lured by the vision of paradise through the astral gateway known as Eve.
In change for the phone call. I have friends too, you know.
There you go. Call. But without you minding her, your lady friend stays here strapped to a board in a drug-induced coma.
Be strong.
Dr. Moon. Meet the Enchantress. Everything we know about her is in your briefing packs. She's walked this earth for a very long time and will likely be here when we're long gone.
This meeting is now a magic show?
Magic or not, this girl can do some pretty incredible things. Go get it, girl.
Recently surfaced Serpentis Capital-class blueprints have caused a stir in military circles across New Eden. Based on Gallente Federation Navy designs, the Vehement-class Dreadnought, Vendetta-class Supercarrier, and the Vanquisher-class Titan deliver more firepower than their original Gallente counterparts. In addition, they are optimized to support advanced stasis webifier and hybrid weapons technology. A well-known criminal corporation, the Serpentis had intended to offer the blueprints to loyal Capsuleers. That plan came under fire when their shipyards were located and raided.
How about a little something from the Weapons Ministry Vault in Tehran?
We've been chasing these plans for years. Please don't touch me. Please don't touch me.
Thank you, we'd like Dr. Moon back.
Please, I'm sorry. I can't do that again.
Flag, get her out of here.
I moved to authorize Amanda Waller to establish Task Force X under the Argus program.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
They warned me about you. The dumbass didn't believe the stories.
Nobody does.
We added a little something we thought you might enjoy.
Oh, it's beautiful. What's the thread count?
Oh, my God. It's under the sheet, you dry turd!
Oh my God, so thoughtful. You got mahogany, oak, pine.
And just one chair.
Where are the rest of us supposed to sit?
Oh, we have special offices for all of you. My assistant and cultural attaché, Esteban, will take you.
Why, hello, Esteban. And from what exotic pueblito on the Iberian Peninsula might you derive?
It's Steve, and I'm from Tulsa. I don't know why Mr. Luther calls me that, but he always does. Follow me.
Okay, come on. I know where I'm going. I remember where my old office is.
Yeah, that's been filled. We have something else for you?
Why did you hit down on the elevator?
And here we are.
No. I know this place. This is where they keep the goons and the henchmen.
Right, like you.
We're not goons. We're not henchmen. We have powers.
That's right. I am an actor.
You are not an actor. You are a huge pile of clay that can turn into anything you want. He is a giant half-shark man, and I am a telepath. We have actual powers.
Calm down, Dr. Guy. This is where you're supposed to be, and you're lucky. Touch whatever you want. Everything's broken.
Goons, you're with me.
The hell we are. We work for Harley.
And now for me, too.
I've signed you out for a very important mission.
I got a Razzie Zazzy for Bang.
It's Bane. You know it's Bane. I'm here every day, Todd. God damn millennial.
Whatever, Bang.
So we're blowing up Todd after dinner. Don't eat so much you get lethargic, but eat enough that you don't get fainty, because I do not bring snacks. The streets will run with Razzie Zazzy.
Could watch that for longer. Oh, no new replies. I want a democratic revolution in EVE Online. Viva la revolution! Viva la revolution!
So, as you can see from the gross adjusted assets tabulation in column J, the net value of the land acquisition was actually 0. Now, if you go to the file marked the evaluation of capital income, we can review the way before. I don't want to hear anything more about finances, mergers, or currency transactions. The charge has been made that you have used money to bring down a great house. What do you say to this, Digor?
I say that he is a liar. That he has smeared my name. And I demand vengeance through personal combat. I
Cadet Kirk, evidence has been submitted to this council suggesting that you violated the ethical code of conduct pursuant to Regulation 17.43 of the Starfleet Code. Is there anything you care to say before we begin, sir?
Yes, I believe I have the right to face my accuser directly.
Step forward, please. This is Commander Spock. He is one of our most distinguished graduates. He's programmed the Kobayashi Maru exam for the last 4 years. Commander.
Cadet Kirk, you somehow managed to install and activate a subroutine in the programming code, thereby changing the conditions of the test.
Your point being?
In academic vernacular, you cheated.
Let me ask you something I think we all know the answer to. The test itself is a cheat, isn't it? I mean, you programmed it to be unwinnable.
Your argument precludes the possibility of a no-win scenario.
I don't believe in no-win scenarios.
Then not only did you violate the rules, you also failed to understand the principal lesson.
Please, enlighten me.
You of all people should know, Cadet Kirk. A captain cannot cheat death.
I of all people.
Your father, Lieutenant George Kirk, assumed command of his vessel before being killed in action, did he not?
I don't think you like the fact that I beat your test.
Furthermore, you have failed to divine the purpose of the test.
Enlighten me again.
The purpose is to experience fear. Fear in the face of certain death. To accept that fear and maintain control of oneself and one's crew. This is a quality expected in every Starfleet captain.
Excuse me, sir. We've received a distress call from Vulcan. With our primary fleet engaged in the Laurentian system, I hereby order all cadets to report to Hangar 1 immediately. Dismissed.
Who was that pointy-eared bastard?
I don't know, but I like him.
So, how much longer till we reach Infirma Prime?
Oh, I'd say 191 hours and 17 minutes, give or take a day.
In that case, we better find something to occupy our time. Care for a game of Fizbin?
I don't play cards.
I'll teach you. It's a very simple game.
Let me put it another way. I don't want to play cards, and even if I did, I wouldn't want to play with you.
Afraid you'd lose? You know, Odo, I used to think all your problems stemmed from the fact that you were a changeling. Isolated from your own kind, forced to live among strangers who didn't understand you. You couldn't eat, you couldn't drink, you couldn't sleep, you couldn't make love. Was it any wonder you had such a bad disposition? But you're not a changeling anymore. You're one of us. Life is yours for the taking. All you have to do is reach out and grab it. But do you? No. Because solid or changeling, you're still a miserable, self-hating misanthrope. That's who you are. And that's who you'll always be.
I'm still not playing cards with you.
Fine. Then we'll just sit here for a week in silence. What are you reading?
Nothing that would interest you.
Don't be so sure.
Quark, give me that.
What are you gonna do, arrest me? He walked towards her. The wooden deck heaving to and fro beneath his booted feet. Her hands moved to the brooch at her throat. She unclasped it, and the cloak fell from her shoulders. Her wet skin glistening in the moonlight. Lightning flashed, and heaven's thunder roared in rhythm with the beating of their hearts.
All right, enough.
Odo, I take it all back. You're obviously a lot more complicated than I thought. If you like that kind of thing, I might be interested in selling you my first edition of Vulcan Love Slave.
This is work, not recreation. Books like this give me an insight into the criminal mind. It is a well-known fact that a high percentage of homicides are motivated by romantic obsession.
Well, no one gets killed in Vulcan Love Slave. But it's still a hell of a read.
Give it up, Quark. You can annoy me, bait me, question my very existence, but in the end, we both know I've won. Because when all is said and done, I'll be heading back to Deep Space Nine, and you'll be spending the rest of your life in a Federation penal colony.
I'm not there yet. Look, Odo, give me a chance. At least tell me what the charges are.
I'm afraid I can't do that. This is a high-security investigation. I'm not allowed to discuss the specifics with anyone. Now, you'll excuse me. I have some reading to do.
Ei oo nälkä. Tai hei, voin mä maistaa.
Tee vaikutusvalion heti valmiilla.
Ei oo nälkä. Tai hei, voin mä maistaa.
Tee vaikutus valion heti valmiilla karrikastikkeella tai ruskeakastikkeella.
Utvecklingen av förnybar energi går starkt framåt och vindkraft är nu billigare än de fossila bränslena. Men hur påverkar detta kraftslag energisystemet?
Elen måste konsumeras samma sekund som den tillverkas.
Need a lift? Try an Alpen bar to keep you at your peak.
When we say computer, we mean the electronic computer.
Time to consult the other AI. This thing being an AI.
Militaires! Anarchem, Doppelcam, Partivos!
Ihr habt das Papier entdeckt.
Standing by.
Это и называется на бреющем полете. Чтобы на белок посмотреть, приходилось голову задирать. Приятно встать на твердую землю. Так где скрываются повстанцы?
Vive la France, vive l'Emperor. Great is his glory, and that of the French nation. Supreme in power and wealth, and rich in civilization and culture. Its armies have ranged across the continent and beyond, taking possession of men's bodies, while its civilization conquers men's hearts. Not even the ancients could match the splendor of the French nation. Long may it endure. Vive la France!
سپاهان درفش یارادگی بسازیم.
Spartiatai.
Awaiting your orders.
I'm not good at this kind of stuff.
What brukst du?
No es bueno el caudillaje de muchos. Sea uno solo el caudillo, uno solo el rey.
As you wish.
Oikealle pyörii. Veto kiristyy. Veto alle päällä. Alla. Oli muuta katoa Karra oikealle. Suunta 1-2-0. Nopeus 270 jatkuu. Suukello 3. Kato nyt oikealle alas. Lähti suunnalla. Pidä Nopeus 260. Vähän lisää.
What's that there?
No hay mayor riqueza que el conocimiento, ni mayor pobreza que la ignorancia.
Prosecutor! Nomos extinguite! Equites consulares!
Rather determined lot, I'd say.
Has descubierto el politeísmo.
Oikealle pyörii, veto kiristyy, tehon lisäys. Tehdään sinne päälle. Joo, pysykää mukana, jos ei tuu pillereitä. Tuokaa länteeltä hyvä aukko. Tehon lisäys, vasemmalle pyörii. Tehon lisäys. Hidasta tapi vähän. Nostavaa korkeutta. Iso T, nyt.
Very well. We accept your offer.
Unacceptable.
I'm very moved. I want you to know that I take your compliments very seriously.
Khaldit!
Sometimes I don't know what century you're living in. Marijuana is still illegal even though everyone uses it, and still less dangerous than alcohol. You should decriminalize it right away. You wouldn't want to have to come pick me up at the police station.
I have just told you that I'm gonna call on all defenders of our cause to rebel against your chauvinist excesses and take to the streets. You'll see, this will make the suffragette movement look like a child's birthday party.
Gotta get our hands on some better equipment. It's embarrassing to be seen with this stuff.
Jack Corione!
Die Bürokratie wurde erfunden, um die Bedürfnisse der Bürokratie zu stillen.
Oh my God! I'm drowning! I'm gonna die!
No thanks.
And this one.
Temper your words and
Uh-huh.
This thing is a dud.
There's still nothing that can be changed.
Currency
You change your team more often than I change my socks.
For me, this medal symbolizes all that is noble in this country, and you show no trace of this nobility. It is therefore my duty, and even with some joy, that I must decline your pathetic offer.
I've seen Raffi's supposed medical degree from Harvard. It was full of ink smudges, and Harvard was spelled with an F.
Glidelios, Trudit!
There.
No, honestly, I'm not very fond of compliments. How much would this I hear so many of them that in the long run they become oppressive.
Zeto! Militaires, ackiem signal formate!
You have discovered democracy.
What is that?
You know, you have to snap so that you can, like, slowly start to heal. It's beautiful.
I came to kill Cersei. Your queen got there first.
Yeah.
Maisie, how did you prepare for the ending?
Kind of horribly, actually. I was, like, so in denial, and I was, like, one of the last people to wrap, which isn't a spoiler.
The last person to
I was.
wrap,
It was
right?
the last day.
Yeah.
Did my scene last. And, yeah, I was just, like, really putting it off because I'd watched so many people rap and cry, and I was, like, I had to, like, stay out of that emotion because I had so much to do and, like, some really difficult scenes to do. And then I rapped, and I was emotional, but, like, I really did feel numb. That's when my numbness came. And then it wasn't until, like, a week later that I was, like, you know when you're just doing something and, like, you drop a spoon, and I was, like, like, overreacting entirely and, like, just felt like an insane person a
But
little
you
bit.
needed that.
Yeah, just, like, to, you know, you have to snap so that you can, like, slowly start to heal.
It's beautiful.
What's west of Westeros?
I don't know.
No one knows. It's where all the maps stop. That's where I'm going.
You're going to worse than Westeros. What's worse than Westeros? I think she was supposed to say west, but I clearly heard her saying worst. What's worse than Westeros? I'm gonna figure it out. Heads for hell. Hello! Hola! I have arrived.
Relieved of duty, Commander. Mr. Worf, confine Mr. Riker to his quarters. Mr. Worf, I gave you an order.
Maintain your position, Lieutenant.
Mr. Worf, escort Commander Riker from the bridge.
We're within range, Captain.
Stand by.
Waiting on your orders, sir.
Captain, this isn't right.
The rest of our forces are depending on us.
How can our mortal enemy be over 100 years behind us in weapons technology?
Their battleships may be on their way right now.
We must attack! I do not fire on defenseless people. Mr. Worf, open a channel to the Lycians.
Delay that order! There's something wrong with the captain. I'm taking command of this vessel. Fire all weapons!
Mr. Worf! In the Treaty of Algeron, the Federation specifically agreed not to develop cloaking technology.
And that treaty is the biggest mistake we ever made. It's kept us from exploiting a vital area of defense.
That treaty has kept us in peace for 60 years. And as a Starfleet officer, you're supposed to uphold it.
Now that's enough! I'm taking command of this vessel. Mr. Worf, escort the captain to his quarters.
I don't think anyone's going to come to your defense this time.
Can I get a towel?
Under penalty of court-martial, I order you to explain to me how you were able to beam aboard this ship while moving at warp.
Well, don't answer him.
You will answer me.
I'd rather not take sides.
What is it with you, Spock? Your planet was just destroyed, your mother murdered, and you're not even upset.
If you are presuming that these experiences in any way impede my ability to command this ship, you are mistaken.
And yet you were the one who said fear was necessary for command. I mean, did you see his ship? Do you see what he did?
Yes, of course I did.
So are you afraid or aren't you?
I will not allow you to lecture me about the merits of emotion.
Then why don't you stop me?
Step away from me, Mr.
What is it like not to feel anger, or heartbreak, or the need to stop at nothing to avenge the death of the woman who gave birth to you?
Back away from
You
me.
feel nothing! It must not even compute for you. You never loved her. Spock.
Doctor, I am no longer fit for duty. I hereby relinquish my command based on the fact that I have been emotionally compromised. Please note the time and date in the ship's log.
I don't think she's going to respond.
Hey, sane me.
Also, the LOL felt a little sweaty.
Yeah, I went back and forth on that. Where are all your friends? Just kidding. I know, they left you. What, you just came out of the phone to shit on me? I'm here to help you. Look, you messed up a bunch of important relationships, but there's still someone who is always going to love you unconditionally. Someone who always manages to comfort you. She's not even responding to my texts. Ivy's definitely not gonna want to see me. I wasn't talking about Ivy. Hi, Mom.
Togetherness is the one thing that drives you through life, and love will always steer you right. All you need is to hear their voices, a really good family, and really good choices. You need one another, especially your brother.
I know, I'm completely bonkers.
Mrs. Bartlett.
Is he conscious?
He's conscious and they're moving into pre-op. He was hitting the side, entry and exit.
What about Zoe?
They got her in the car. She's clear. She's on her way to GW. Let's go, let's go, let's go!
You all right?
Yeah. Oh, Dad's making jokes.
Good ones, or okay?
Abby, it's Dr. Keller.
Oh yes, we spoke from the car.
Hello.
What's his PO2?
It's good. It's 100.
You gonna do a laparoscopy?
Yeah, we want to make sure the peritoneum's intact.
Who's the anesthesiologist?
Dr. Lee.
You'll be okay for now?
Yeah.
Dr. Lee,
Dr. Bartlett, I hope they told you that it's looking very good.
there are 14 people in the world who know this, including the vice president, the chief of staff, and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. You're going to be the 15th. 7 years ago, my husband was diagnosed with a relapsing remitting course of MS. When all this is over, tell the press, don't tell the press. It's entirely up to you. Jed, please. I want you to lie still for a few hours.
Mr. President,
I want to see him.
is he okay?
I told him about Josh.
Please help me to the door.
You should stay in bed.
Charlie brought me some clothes. Please, let me see him.
Okay, just for a minute.
Okay. What's next?
Using a 9mm Beretta, the other had a .357 Desert Eagle.
Ron's saying that these are absolutely the wrong weapons to use for a shooting of this kind. And that's why the injury count was as low as it was.
We don't know what the injury count is yet.
Yeah, but his point is...
Excuse me, sir. I was told you want to see me.
Yeah. Charlie, the guy the Secret Service have in custody is named Carl Leroy. He gives a statement in which he says that he and the two shooters were members of an organization called West Virginia White Pride.
They tried to kill the president because Zoe and I are together.
No.
Why did...
Charlie, the president wasn't the target. According to the statement, the president wasn't the target.
Oh. Okay. Okay, well... Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
Dad, I'm gonna...
Go. We don't know what the injury count is yet.
And 15.
Leo, is there any food in this room that isn't fried?
Well, if there is, let's get rid of it.
I'm not kidding.
There's good exits from Stark County and Rock Island.
How good?
Good.
Leo! What the hell is this?
That's Sam's draft of your victory
I
remarks.
congratulate my opponent on a well-fought campaign in Illinois.
You don't want to congratulate him?
Yes, I want to congratulate him, but I'd like to call him by his name. Are we back to this crap again?
Governor, we can
Leo, I
certainly
want to
take
go over this
another-
whole thing with you.
Excuse me.
It's the exact same crap all over again. It's amateur hour. Damn student
You can say it, you know. It's not like I haven't heard it before.
Your husband's a real son of a bitch, Mrs. Bartlett.
He doesn't like being handled.
Well, I think if you looked around, he'd see that nobody is handling it.
He's not ready yet, Josh. He's terrified.
Was he gonna be ready?
You bet your ass he will. In the meantime, you want to kick something? Kick me.
魔王の楽しみは喧嘩以外に何かあるのか？
ないけど。魔人や人間に威張れるのだぞ。
退屈なんじゃないかそれ。あ、退屈してたなこいつ。俺の許可なく暴れないと約束していなかったか？
それはそうこれは違うのだ。この町のものではないからセーフなのだ。
アウトだよ。
なあ、私も一緒に遊びたい。
なんでここにいるの？街で待ってろって言ったよね。
なあ、やはり私が。
ダメ。そんな目で見てもダメだ。他の魔王に会いに行くのか？
仕事だからな。
騙されないように注意しろ。
騙されないでくださいね。騙されちゃいけませんよ。騙されないでくださいね。騙されませぬように。みんな心配性だな。私は賢いから騙されたりしないのだ。うわ友達というよりマブダチだな。
マブダチ？
違うのか？
マブダチみんな俺たちはマブダチ。
最近学んだ手加減を見せてやるのだ。
本当だろうな。
これが手加減というものだ。ドラゴンバス
手加減って一体。はじめまして。この町の主リムルと申します。よくぞスライムである俺が一番強いと分かりましたね。褒めてほしそうだな。これは褒めていい状況なのか？
雑魚ばかりだと大変だな。ミリム様に気に入られているからと調子に乗るなよ。
おいお前、私の友達に舐めた口を聞くじゃないか。
ミリム待て。お前今度何かしたらマジで晩飯を抜くからな。
分かった。おとなしくするのだ。うわー今日も大量なのだ。ミリムちゃんはすごいですよ。すぐに魔物を発見するので今回も狩りが楽々でした。うわっはっは、魔物の発見くらい余裕なのだ。今夜もごちそうなのだ。
そうだ、今度俺が武器を作ってやるよ。やっぱマブダチとしてはミリムが心配だしさ。
新しい武器そうだな。やはりマブダチは一番大事なのだ。
ちょろい。あまりにもちょろすぎる。
せーの。でもそんなんじゃダメ。もうそんなんじゃ。
I think I'm gonna watch some Harley Quinn just for funsies.
Harley, what happened to you?
Well, look who's up. Harleen? How much of this am I hallucinating? Just me. Weirdly, the passed out guy with the boner and the plant driving the car are both real. Why'd you tell me to go back to Bensonhurst? In my defense, how could I have possibly known your parents would try to kill you for $1 million bounty? Who wanted you dead, by the way? No idea. It feels like it could be anyone. Now I got no one left. Even Ivy hates me.
What the fuck you babbling about? Ivy doesn't hate you. I'm only here because Ivy says she needs you. She's been captured. It's life or death.
What? Step on it!
As of this writing, there are 81 confirmed deaths in China alone from the Wuhan coronavirus, with 2,700 infections all across the nation. That is, of course, only the deaths confirmed to be related to the virus, which can be tricky to identify versus a severe flu or other respiratory illness. The total death count could very well be higher than the 81 claimed. But what is particularly terrifying is that the total infected count is almost certainly much greater than the 2,700 confirmed in China alone. That's because the coronavirus is contagious even before symptoms set in, unlike the famous SARS virus from the 2002 SARS outbreak. That means that you could be infected yourself right now and spreading the infection without ever realizing it until finally in about 2 weeks' time, you start to come down with severe flu-like symptoms and difficulty breathing. If that's not scary enough, in one day alone, the death toll for the virus jumped from 56 to 80, with 24 dead in just one day. That means the virus is spreading at an exponential rate, and if this rate of increase continues on its present course, we could be seeing thousands dead in as little as a month. Likely, though, this won't be the case, as Chinese health authorities are taking incredible steps to stop the spread of the virus. 2 new hospitals in the worst affected regions are already under construction, and the nation has mobilized both its civilian medical experts and the military to stop the halt of the virus. Unfortunately, all these incredible efforts may be too late, as the virus has not just spread throughout China, but has made its leap across the ocean. As of this video's release, the virus is present in a dozen nations, including France, Australia, Singapore, Japan, and the United States. In the US alone, over the weekend of January 24th to the 26th, the cases of confirmed infections grew from 2 to 5, and many more are suspected to be infected and completely unaware until symptoms begin to set in. With the possibility of the Wuhan virus showing up in your town growing by the day, what can you do to protect yourself? Many authorities in China are recommending people wear face masks to prevent the spread of the virus. Though if you're looking to stop yourself from picking up an infection, this is not a very reliable method. Even before the Wuhan virus, the practice of wearing face masks in public has been very popular across Asia. But the reality is that these masks will often do little, if anything, to stop an airborne virus. Simply put, this is because the masks are simply too porous to filter out viruses and other bacteria. Some studies have shown that the masks are effective in reducing the rate of infection, but these were all carried out in clinical settings and have little bearing on what a mask user would encounter in the real world. The one way that masks are very effective in fighting against viral outbreaks, though, is by their use by those already infected, as the masks help stop transmission. If an infected person is around you and you're wearing a mask, though, odds are it isn't going to do much to stop you getting sick. The American CDC refuses to recommend surgical masks to be used to help fight transmission for those individuals who are not already sick, citing a lack of evidence that they actually help stop infection. Instead, to combat the Wuhan virus and others like it, the CDC recommends that you simply wash your hands regularly and use tissues every time you cough or sneeze. Trapping airborne viral particles is far more important than trying to stop them from getting to you with a mask, as typically people are infected orally thanks to poor hand washing techniques anyway. If you do use a tissue, make sure that you get rid of it quickly as possible to limit the chance viral particles will get on surfaces around you. You've likely heard that when you get sick, you need to pile on the vitamin C. And if you've been anywhere near a drugstore in your life, then you've no doubt seen the dozens and dozens of vitamin C supplements next to the cold and flu relief section. Well, feel free to start passing on the vitamin C for now, because science has been trying to tell us for decades that the vitamin C craze to fight infections is nothing but a case of bad science and very greedy marketing. In fact, if you regularly take vitamin C for cold and flu prevention, you're really only helping to build up a pretty nasty case of kidney stones. A study tracking regular taking of vitamin C over the course of a year showed that it did not prevent cold or flu and only lessened the duration of infection by 8% in adults. There is no diet or supplement that's going to keep you safe from the Wuhan virus, and instead, prevention is going to be more on your physical habits than what you put in your body. Wash your hands regularly, especially after spending time in public, and before any meal. If you're an international traveler, you should check with your embassy to see if they have a field testing kit for the virus yet. Currently, the American CDC is working on exporting such a kit to other nations. You should also check ahead with your embassy and your travel destination to see if they have any health advisories or travel warnings for the region you're visiting. Lastly, perhaps delay your trip to China for now, as the disease is rapidly spreading outside of the region it was first identified in. The good news is that though the disease has shown it can kill even healthy teenagers, its death rate is relatively low. You can help fight this global outbreak by acting as if you already are infected. Always cover your mouth before you cough. and cough or sneeze into tissues that can be quickly disposed of. If you cough or sneeze into your hands, immediately wash your hands and sanitize any surfaces you came into contact with. You may, after all, not suffer anything more than severe flu-like symptoms, but your carelessness could cost someone else their life. We want our beloved fans to stay safe from the Wuhan virus, so we hope you practice each of the techniques in this episode to help fight the pandemic. For all of our fans in Southeast Asia or affected countries, we want you to know that we're rooting for you and hope you keep safe. Now, the best way we can think of to keep safe from the Wuhan virus is to stay indoors and enjoy more of your favorite YouTube channels.
kicking us off in the top left-hand side. Not looking so hot in game number 1. And in his first series of the day. This is our Red Terran player, Innovation. Let's see if he can get back on track. In the bottom right-hand side, the pink Protoss player, Zest. Again, first game of the series here as we get this set to go. Let's see if he's building up. Probe's building up. Looking to see just how this is going to play out for the TVP. Now, I'm actually a little bit worried for Innovation because I do feel like Zest looked pretty good earlier against Cure in some of the games. He looked really good. He had some good ideas. He had some good play styles. I'm a little worried for Innovation, who traditionally is not great against mech. So I do feel as though this could be a bit of an aggressive series in Zest's favor. So let's see what Inno can do. He needs to sharpen up a little bit. He needs to make sure he's got some maybe aggressive builds up his sleeves, might help him out a little bit. As you have the Cybernetics core dropping down in the main base. And the probe coming up into the natural SCV, moving out to the bottom right-hand side. And the Reaper from Innovation just on the way up. So Reaper getting going, the SCV coming down the bottom. Innovation again down in this lower bracket. So this is the elimination match here. One of these players, Innovation or Zest, will be eliminated in this matchup. This is it. This is do or die time. The loser of this is out of the tournament. The winner of this gets a second chance against either Kiro or Ragnarok, depending on who doesn't win in the winner's match. So, time to bring out your best builds if you want to make a placement here in Warty TV 2020. Thank you, JJ Guevara, for the Twitch Prime sub for 4 months. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, as we do see the Stargate dropping down from Zest in the main base. Again, that Stargate down, the Reaper coming through. The Adept is going to be shading forwards with this aim to try and shut down the Reaper. And obviously, when you shade, you only get one shot on the Reaper. So, just trying to keep track of it, watch where it goes. He is going to go Stargate early, and Innovation going into that factory. Obviously, currently no scout for Innovation, so currently doesn't know what he's up against. Which is nice for Zest, means that this Oracle might arrive with a little bit less expectation being there and ready to go from the Terran player. That pulls back, gonna go patrolling a little bit. Oracle building from Zest as well, and we do just see the Reaper again coming down to the bottom right hand side. Phoenix coming in, just going to see the Starport building up, Widowmine, extra barracks already, so going to be pretty quick to swap in towards the bio play actually after this. As we get this underway. So maybe seeing the, again, Rax going to be finishing soon. Move into Tech Lab, Widowmine comes over to the corner and will burrow up there as the Oracle flies in. Doesn't get hit by that Widowmine just yet at least, as we do have a couple of Adepts moving out, a couple of Racks dropping down. Really just a nice fast play in towards, you know, bio here, while not even going medevac, just getting the Viking up, so that will help too. Zest goes Oracle into multiple Phoenix, so very safe for the early stages. As you do see, the Adepts just continue to patrol around here a little bit. Third Nexus dropping down on the bottom side. Forge Twilight Council building up here as well, so getting that up and ready to go. And do you see the Engineering Bay finishing up in the back of the natural expansions? Again, the Engineering Bay finished, we do have the Vikings still out the front, and again, there's not been a lot of aggression from Zest. It's been a pretty passive Stargate opening, but when these Phoenix come over, this Viking's going to be in a lot of trouble right away. Innovation does not really want it out here. It's going to get the first shot, but then it does go down. Okay, it's going to force the lift, so you get some energy out of these Phoenix. It's a very minor little something that he gains from all of this, all things considered. We see the factory building a reactor, Starport as well. You see the first Widowmine gets picked off, and again the Marines just there to chase the Oracle and the Phoenix away. 2 more Marines popping out, so a lot more Marines coming up here at the moment. Again, still getting Stimpak and Combat Shields ready to go as well. You're just going to be seeing Charge, +1 armor, all of those upgrades coming through. As we do have our probes manning away on the 3rd base here. You just see the couple extra medevacs about to pop, and that'll finally be Innovation able to get aggressive in this game as he's been sitting back quite a while for the moment. Marines coming forwards. Phoenix got chased away, and just going to be seeing the extra gates continue to come on through. Temple Archives then drops down. Again, just a couple more Marauders, Combat Shields, +1 attack, Concussive Shells. All the good stuff still coming in for Innovation. And that's just off of this, just going to go Charge and Temple Archives, so very similar to the style that Hearthstone was playing yesterday in his matches, where he was just going into a lot of these Phoenix, get himself into a position where he was able to then get Charge and +1 up by the time an attack came across the map. And that's exactly what's going to be the same kind of scenario here. Charge will be done, so you've got to be careful here, Zeno, not to overcommit into this, as Guardian Shield pops a bit preemptively maybe from Zest, but Innovation is not diving on it, so well, now that Sentry only has energy for Force Fields, doesn't have another Guardian Shield set to go, which is definitely a bit of a shame. Has another Guardian Shield and like 10 energy though, so it's not that bad. Doesn't have to wait too long. We're just going to see the Widowmines burrowing up again. We're actually going to see the Phoenix looking to try and get... Oh my god. Trying to get friendly fire on towards the bio units. The Zealots took a big beating though, so the Zealots took a lot of this splash damage as well. I think for Innovation this is actually okay. I think this is survivable. I think he pushes this back without too much more of an issue. So these Phoenix then join up with what is just more and more Zealots continue to warp in. Again, Innovation against that missile turrets here to help against the Phoenix. Now he's bringing his Liberators into play too. Innovation, no 3rd base, just 2 racks, 2 bases, 5 racks. Soon to be on 1-1 upgrades, so we'll soon have an upgrade lead. Problem is he's sending reinforcements across the map as they spawn, so the Zealot counterattack will do a lot without even the need to invest into a Warp Prism. That's kind of part, kind of the crazy part about that, right? So obviously he makes this pretty cheap, as we do see. Some Widowmines will have to burrow up, but those on their own will not really do the job. Going to need a bit more than that as extra Widowmines coming in. Cross over this left-hand side. Extra Archon morphing in as well now. 2 more Libs in production. Zealots from Zest being chased away to the bottom right, which maybe is going to come in for a bit of a flank here. And Innovation's trying to push forwards with the rest of this. He stemmed everything, which I think is fine because you're kind of expecting the rest of the army to come in at the same time, right? So I don't think that's too surprising. Here he goes. Zest's going to come in from all angles. Liberator is not sieged up at the moment as the first Widowmine's going down. I love what he's doing here, using the missile turret as a choke point to help against those Zealots, and Innovation feels as though he might be able to start breaking through this now. Extra Zealots warping in on the 3rd base. So he relocates a bit over to the right side here on the high ground, and just going to be seen still pushing through Innovation while he's going to start picking away at this cannon. Shield battery may very well be next, and you can see Zest wants to come in and fight this. These Phoenix get targeted down before they can force the Widowmines to go off on them. And that's exactly what you want to do here. Now the couple Archons on the top are the only thing really causing any problems. The Zealots on the bottom don't have enough health left to survive this. And this will be a cleanup. Innovation takes game 1 with continued 2 base aggression. Wins the game out. Innovation takes the first game of the series. Nice to see Innovation starting to win a map here today.
My Twitch chat.
Yeah.
They cut off my gas and my water this morning.
Oh.
I haven't been able to pay the bills because all the donations have been going to Wardy TV. Now there's some construction.
Oh.
Yeah, it's rough, man. So I'm sitting in here in the code. But luckily, Wardy, I have Zest versus Innovation to keep me warm. And in the top right corner, spawning as the blue Protoss, the man, the myth, the legend, it's Zest. What do you think of that little bridge? That was good, no?
I liked it. It's definitely true. Just making all the money here. He even gave me extra gas and electric and water.
Really?
Of course not. How did they give you extra gas and water?
Well, I don't know. I think rich people have it way better than me, so I wouldn't know about these things already. I believe anything from a rich person like you.
It's like I can actually get 2 showers a day. Like,
Wow, that's wild.
I do what I want.
All right, you forgot to do the introduction of the left bottom
That's because
guy.
you were talking to me. Bottom left at Red Terran Players, innovation.
Fantastic. All right, Wardy, listen to this. I watched a bit of the last game.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very painful when you lose like that, and Inno kills people a lot like that as well, which makes it even worse. Like, freaking Inno is so good with those kind of pushes, and once he is set up outside of your base with mines, I almost never see him lose. Like, the real trick against Inno is to make sure he never gets to properly set up like that, I think. And then perhaps you can do it, but like his pusher shows like his micro is really good. It's the most standard game ever, and then he just kills you. It's like, well, how does this not happen in every single game? He doesn't even have more units. I'm not sure how he wins. It's like, it's absolutely mad when you play against him. Like the feeling of losing to innovation is not rare to me. You know, like I've experienced it many times, and it feels very silly when it happens because he never does anything fancy. You know, it's just like, boom, walks across the map, burrows 6 mines, and he destroys you. Well, glad I stayed up for 3 a.m. to this, for the IMNA qualifier. It's actually really, really sick how he does it.
Yeah, he's always been really good at like timings, right? Like, you know, because he used to be like the king of that ghost SCV pull timing as well.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's the sort of style he's almost like the Sue of Terran. The Sue also loves them mid games. So
yeah, he does fall off usually a bit in the late game. I feel like he's good. Don't get me wrong, he destroy me still, but like he falls off a bit compared to some other players who really shine in that late game. But yeah, I think Inno's like mine and his 1-1 ghost timings, like that kind of stuff is so extremely scary to play against. And yeah, I do not envy Zest at the moment, who is opening up with a robotics facility on the low ground, followed up by a semi-wall with a single gateway. I have not seen this before. And this, let me see. So it's 3 gate units. This reminds me a bit of how Deer plays his Blink opener with double gate, and instead of the 3rd gate, what you do is you get a faster 3rd or 4th gateway unit. So you save a little bit of money and get more units out for any initial drop or any initial damage.
So he's gonna go Robobase. So he actually did this earlier against Kira, which was it just turned into a Colossus drop. And he actually only played 1 Colossus, and he switched into like a Disruptor and then Templar Archives. It was pretty wild. So I don't know if you've got any comments on that.
A single Colossus?
Yeah, he went single Colossus into a single Disruptor. I think he added 1 Immortal at some point, and then he went off Templar Archives.
This is what we used to do in HOTS, yeah? In the SCV pool era, what we used to do is you fake them out with 1 Colossus. They play double starport SCV pool, and you have 5 Immortals and Storm ready. What's up? Then Terrans figured out instead of playing double starport, they can go single starport, get a bunch of Vikings and a Ghost Academy. So they push with 3 Ghosts, and then it's like kind of a middle of the road thing, you know, and they still win. Or well, HOTS was a weird time, honestly. Like it's funny because sometimes people like they'll say, yeah, HOTS and Wings was really good, but if you ever look back at games from HOTS or Wings, like I'm very surprised like half of the StarCraft scene didn't just top themselves off with how bad the games were, honestly. Like it's so painful to watch. Like any era had like complete garbage games in at least 4 of the matchups, you know, like just every game was just complete crap. It's actually insane how StarCraft managed to stay alive through that. If you compare it to how it is now, like at least at the start of Wings it was kind of fresh, but in the middle of HOTS, like there were games which were so bad, and every game the exact same thing happened. It wasn't interesting. There was almost no skill involved. It was just painful, honestly. Wait, Colossus drop. Oh no, he's been watching Puck stream. This is what Puck used to do. Really?
Yeah. So he did this earlier. So he's actually going to build a 2nd Colossus this time. Like I said earlier, he only built 1. And then, I don't know, I feel like Innovation is pretty well set up to deal with this. Because the Raven's just so scary in this scenario. Because like, if you miss the pickup on the Colossus, it can just die. Maybe not to the Marines, but if there's like a couple of
Tämä on OnePlay. Nyt sekä parran että ihokarvojen ajoon.
Vikings, it's not going to look good for you. He's going to get a few Marines early.
Actually, I kind of like it because you can't really produce Vikings as Terran here, right? Like if you open with 2 Vikings, like the other guy will have like 95 workers by the time you arrive on the other side and have like the 7-minute mark. So it makes some sense, you know, like you're gonna do some damage on Marines. Of course, it's very scary against the Raven, like you say. Like you need to be lightning fast, but it's also a bit scary for Inno to cast that thing with the Raven, you know, because if you cast it and you miss it, then all of a sudden your push loses all of its potential. So it's a weird battle between, you know, like who feels like they're quicker, and honestly, it's kind of in Zest's hands, you know. If Zest doesn't mess up, he probably won't lose it. Yeah, he's playing it safe, picks it up immediately, as Inno is moving out with 3 medepacks. We'll be heading out for a fake drop into the main, into going towards the third, and he completely, yeah, oh really? He got tricked a bit though, Zest did. Look how many Stalkers is in the main.
Yeah, well, he saw it initially with the Warp Prism heading up the left, but then he sees it again with the Warp Prism again now, so he does keep a few Stalkers there. I mean, Innovation can still jump up towards the main, right? He's actually bringing the rest of the units across. A couple of Vikings get some good damage onto the Prism, which sits still, and it goes down. So now this Colossus goes down, so you lose a Colossus early in Innovation. You know, with the Raven in play, potentially, you know, Matrix on the Colossus, he can obviously make something happen here. For now, he'll use it to detect and kill an Observer. As he comes around the top, and you can see the Stalkers looking for some Viking kills, and he'll get one of them. Anything to try and protect these Colossus at the moment.
Yeah, there's no blink yet, so these Stalkers, they have to be a little bit careful. How many interference matrices do we have right now? 2?
2, yeah. You can only have 2, right?
Yeah. So we have, what, 2 Colossus as well? That's bad news for for Zest, honestly. Still a bunch of Stalkers in the main base, but even if Inno doesn't go into the main and just kind of drops the gate and the pylon, that could be pretty annoying. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna drop into this, right? That would be a wild play.
Just, yeah, like you say, drop in, get the gate, get the pylon. Just a nice little bit of free damage here initially, and then, you know, he's just kind of forcing this army of Zest to keep moving around, because he's still piling on reinforcements to the right-hand side, so Zest has to make sure not to overcommit to the main, otherwise the third base is a bit too weak. Got to be really cautious right now.
You know, first Disruptor is out. We'll be able to help out a lot. There's also a lot of sentry, so I think Zest is going to be fine defensively. His worker count isn't too high, and I actually only just realized he didn't have a forge yet.
Yeah, really.
Neither did he build a Twilight Council. So this is, I guess he sacrifices. Oh wow, this is an SCV pool. So then the no forge actually is kind of nice. You know, you get a little more units. There's a lot of batteries on the way. Fake third, I guess, for Inno. And how many Vikings is there? 6 Vikings, 1 Raven against 3 Colossus, 2 Disruptor. I feel like the force shields might be too hard to deal with here for Inno, who is pushing forward. Vikings going to town on the Colossus, who also get interference matrix. SCV's tanking a lot of damage, and the Disruptor shots do hit a lot of Marauders, but not sure if it's going to be enough.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing the Disruptor on the right side finally out of Matrix, but the Colossus are already dead. The Viking count's overwhelming, and Innovation is just going to kill off absolutely everything. He's able to take the 2-0 lead here over Zest.
Sure, he has been worried.
But I mean,
all right.
The thing is, he gets so much time to be mean to me because he doesn't actually talk about the game, right? So that's unfair.
Wow. That is unfair. All right, boys. In the top left, spawning as the red Terran. You guys up 2-0? It is Innovation.
In the bottom right, our pink Protoss player is Zest.
Wow. Whoa. Going for an early wall. Last game he played Core before Nexus, didn't he? Forgot to mention that. But I saw it and I was like, core before Nexus. And I think Zest, whenever he walls like this, always plays core before Nexus. Because in that case, you can actually deny the Reaper. If you wall like this, you play Nexus before core, and your opponent plays Barracks Gas. There's going to be like a 4-second window where the Reaper is in your main base, and you don't have an Adept. And these are the longest 4 seconds you're ever going to live in your life, Artie, let me tell you that. Because that Reaper, in reality, I'm not sure how many times it shoots a second, but if there's 4 seconds left until your Adept is out, this guy can take down 5 probes if you're not careful. Like, it's absolutely insane. And then he also always manages to fly out with like 1 Adept shot left. Like, it's just unfair. Here we go. I predicted the core before Nexus, and here we go with the Nexus before core. I'm so glad I'm alive.
It's okay. I'm sure that's gonna make up to you by then losing like 5 probes.
If he loses 3 probes, I'm actually gonna be extremely happy because he really does deserve it now. Like, this is the problem with this opener. Like, if Inno leaves his Reaper at home, I'm also gonna be really sad. He isn't actually rallying it. He just keeps it. Okay, here we go with the relic. Nice. Yeah, it's gonna be fast, and I'm looking forward to this actually. There's a second pylon in the main base of Zest, so he won't be able to wall. There's also a 3rd pylon on the map, so this could be a proxy Stargate, perhaps? But in that case, it would make more sense to put that pylon on the low ground, no? So you show your opponent, hey, there's
a pylon here.
There's a pylon here, yeah. Sometimes Zest is mind games. I feel like they mind game himself. I don't understand why Inno isn't just going in straight away. He's going around. Like, he scouted that it wasn't core before Nexus. Now he's only gonna get 0 probes. That makes me sad. I actually think he could have gotten a probe, or at least done a bit more here. Makes me sad. Makes me wonder if Tyrants don't know the timings too well.
They just don't know what's going on. They're just like, do whatever I want.
Hey, I mean, he SCV scouted for this as well, so there's no way the Adept can be out yet at 224 or 223. It's very confusing to me. Stargate is about to finish up.
Yeah.
Should be an Oracle, right?
I'd imagine so. Proxy Phoenix has not been the most popular way to go. Guess you could maybe go really crazy and build a Void Ray, but...
Or Carrier.
There's no Fleet Beacon.
But he could proxy it as well. In theory, it's all possible. Proxy time is actually not that bad. Let me tell you that.
I don't disagree, but... Like, I mean, where's the probe to proxy the Fleet Beacon?
Too late. That's okay. Yeah, Proxy Oracle, how many Adepts is on the map? 2 Adepts on the map, 2 extra gates on the way as well. Innovation did get tricked a little bit. I'm not sure by what he got tricked, because he did see a second pylon in the main base, which usually indicates a Stargate. But he's opening with a medevac, which ideally would be a Viking. There's no mine in position either on the natural, so Zest will be able to clear out 1 SCV and a mule so far. Oh, look how... I love how he micros this, you know? Bam, bam, bam. Just goes in, out, in, out, in, out. He has actually very good Oracle control. Zest's stats have insane Oracle control. Second mule, 2 workers. This is really big. I think this is a very good start for Zest. It doesn't feel like a lot, but the 2 mules, even if they were half like timer, like it's still a lot of income that Inno is missing, and the 2 SCVs always is painful, of course.
A 3rd Oracle coming up as well, so this aggression is only gonna keep on coming through. As Inno not really doing much else. He's got the medevac for the Widow Mines coming down the right side, so he's hoping for some damage, but Stalker's already positioned, so he might be able to get the burrow off, but obviously Zest should have a pretty good idea this is coming. He's actually got 2 Adepts and 3 Stalkers here, so I don't even think you can burrow the Widow Mines, right?
No, you can't actually. Yeah, you one-shot it with 2 Adepts.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a disaster. Now C3 Oracle's going up into the main, they're going to kill all the Marines, which means that then they're going to just get free reign on the mineral line for a little while. Extra Marines do show up, so it's 5 more workers though, right? And this, this damage just keeps on piling on, and so Zest just continues to increase his lead off of a very good opening.
Yeah, it's completely true. Zest does seem to be going into a Forged Twilight as well as a Robo, so it might actually be Blink as a follow-up. But yeah, like you mentioned, a lot of damage has been on. 7 workers gone down so far. On the side of Inno, as well as 2 mules, let's not forget about that. So it's going to be difficult for Innovation to get a lot of units out to put some real pressure onto this 3rd base. As we see a medevac flying into the main with 2 mines in it, we'll be able to probably take out 2 probes. Ooh!
No, if the Widow Mines As the Stalkers trying to find the medevac there, while that Widowmine's just going to go down as the next one in the natural. We'll just get one probe. And that's the end of the Widowmines. Oh, nice missed. No! Not a nice retarget.
Probes. Yeah, that was a beautiful retarget.
The idea was good, but the execution wasn't there.
It's a little sad. Only 35 workers for innovation, by the way, who completely cut worker production in order to get more units out. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up going into another SCV pool, by the way. It's like, there's absolutely no way that he's going to get a third CC ever. We have 5 gates, which are relatively late. We don't have a single battery on the map, which is also painful. Immortal is halfway done. It's actually weird to see how little unit Zest has. Like, he's missing the big influx of gateways. It seems a little bit late. He is very active with these oracles, but it seems like he mismacroed a little bit or something, as he hardly has any units and no static defenses here, so this might actually still get a little bit tight.
Yeah, no, just trying to poke forwards. That one Widowmine is super low, so he's trying to poke right very conservatively. Gets a couple force fields off Zest already, which is nice, because there's not an endless amount of force fields available here, really, so forcing a couple, that means there's pretty much going to be a gap left over. Zest even warps in more sentries to help with this. And this renovation starts to stem forwards a little bit more. There's extra Widowmines that are coming through as well. It's trying to make this a little bit more awkward too, but it's not an army that really the Widowmines do much against, as that's a nice force field to try and cut this in half a bit, you know? To lift up and pull back. And obviously Zest, time is his friend, because now he's got the gateways up, etc. You know, his economy is working into a lot more unit production.
Yeah, I mean, the 5 extra gateways did finish up now, and second Immortal is joining the fray, as well as Blink being done, makes it a lot easier to micro against these mines, of course. And just to poke forward with Blink Stalker. There's still a lot of sentries here, but none of them actually have energy, so this will be the time for Inno to move forward as he burrows the Widowmine offensively. Starts sitting, but I think there might be just a little too many units, as 2 mines actually hit a lot.
Yeah, so a really good mine can actually target fight the sentries, so you hit all the sentries with that Widowmine. So he takes away any potential future force fields as well. Now Zest is like, well, maybe I'll add a cannon and a shield battery here just to help me out. Maybe make that 2 shield batteries, because again, it's a little bit scary right now, as even though Stalkers now drop, trying to force the Widowmines to connect.
Yeah, I absolutely love the Liberator follow-up as well by Innovation, who's even getting a 4th gas right now to really facilitate that. Of course, he still has a pretty decent army supply. It's just going to be so hard to move into this. The mines are just slightly out of range. And every time he unburrows something, he just gets force fielded in. There's no force fields now, so we see Innovation moving in and out a little more freely. Mines are getting some decent connections, but we're really just waiting for these first Liberators to finally start showing up. Because once the Liberators are there, it becomes way harder to break. Because then the poking forward has a real cost every single time. I mean, the damage that Libs do whenever you move into one of the circles is absolutely insane. So you see, as Zest tries to push forward, it's kind of like, nah, don't think I will be able to quite blink into this anymore or to move forward. Charge, I believe, did finish, and +2 has started. I wouldn't mind seeing a row away at this point to deal with the mines, you know? It's always difficult to deal with this if you don't have disruptors. Or Storm, but I think the Storm is too difficult, as Zest will be trying to break it immediately. Blinks forward onto the Liberator. 4 Immortal still pushing out a lot of damage here. All the mines and the Lib have gone down, and there's another Zealot Warp in together with the batteries, which are now empty. I think Zest might be able to just push this away.
Gets one more Widowmine as well, so there really is just none of the tech units here for Innovation. And that just means he's kind of reset to where he was a few moments ago. Only, you know, now Zest is getting more and more models out, so this is becoming better and better for him defensively as well. Extra Stalkers even warping in, as you do see an extra Liberator showing up, but again, even just the fact there's now just 1 Lib, there's only 1 Widowmine, the numbers just aren't what they were before, and the Widowmine gets dodged by Blink Stalkers, which take advantage and take down a Liberator as they blink through. And Zest will take game number 3. Zest goes back to his good old... He's been playing a lot of Blink today, but he's also been playing like a bit of like heavy Phoenix, like 1 Oracle into lots of Phoenix, so he's played a couple different styles.
Oh wow. Would you look at that?
We start in the top left. Our Red Terran player is Innovation.
And in the bottom right, our pink Protoss player is Zest.
4th map, best of 5. This is the elimination match as well. One of these guys is going home.
Well, they're already. They're just gonna be out of
They're going to turn their monitor off.
Probably. Well, unlikely. Usually you do something else on the computer after you leave it there.
Okay. This guy's going to turn off StarCraft.
There you go. Just want you to be accurate for once.
Just one time.
That's just one time.
I should really study up on gamer habits once they're playing tournaments. Let's go. Take observations.
No scout by Zest. See that? But not a gas first. He's forgetting to do this Nexus, or he's going to core first. Okay, core before Nexus. You know what's cool to do when you play core first? Is to do a delayed scout. So a lot of the time, when you scout early against Terran, they'll send down 2 SCVs. But if you don't scout at all, do a delayed scout, and you time it out to come there at 137, there's only a single SCV, like right now. And if you then manage to block the CC for like maybe 6 or 7 extra seconds, the core first gets so much better. It's really insane. So it's a cool play that we don't see a lot, but usually when it's done, it actually does really, really well. It's one of those things that I feel like a lot of tossers just kind of forget about, and then they realize again, then Terrans start sending SCVs down, and tossers are like, it's crap now, we stop doing it, and half a year later it surfaces again. I feel like a lot of things in StarCraft are kind of cyclical like that, you know, where it kind of goes in and out of the meta depending on what the other guys do against it. I feel like for a while in PvZ, for example, we'd always have our probe down a bit earlier for proxy hatches on your natural, and nowadays almost no one has their probe down there anymore. It's like, who even proxy hatches anymore? We used to have our probe down there, so it doesn't feel very safe. And then Sue does it in a tournament 4 times in a row, and we used to be like,
StarCraft, do little things that aren't as good. Because if they aren't as good, people don't expect them.
Just like that,
yeah, I try and apply this in pretty much all my games. I'd like to say
mineral command center isn't catching them.
Tulet seuraamaan meidän esitystä ja jos jollekin kipinä lentämään ilmoimme koneella tai muuten töihin ilmoimiin, niin käy rekrypisteellä tai ilmoimien nettisivuilla. Mitad Hawk kiittää jatkuvasta oikealle pyöriä.
Comes in from Zest. Just gonna play Blink pretty quickly this time around. And I have seen Zest being pretty aggressive with the Blink today. Obviously we saw him against Kyoga, so we've got a lot of games to kind of base this on. We played a lot of just not like a few stalkers at home defending Blink, but rather like a lot of like 10 plus stalkers across the map. You know, aiming to try and snipe down Stimpak in one game. Just being very aggressive in general. So just excited to see what exactly this becomes, because of course that's the great thing about Blink. You can very easily turn it into an aggressive Blink, or you can very easily make it a bit more of a defensive Blink where you do just warp in just a handful of stalkers, something along those lines. There's the Reaper. It's going to drop down a grenade and just move its way in towards the main base. As the Stalker's going to be able to get the kill. Nice scout though. You see absolutely everything here is innovation. So full info for you as the Widowmine drop comes across the map. And you know, Zest not putting any pressure on early means Inno is kind of just left to do what he wants to do for the moment. So here's this Widowmine drop. Flying forwards, he's coming in from an angle that means he can go natural or main. He's going to take a bit of damage on the medevac initially. He does get the first Widowmine one shot. The second Widowmine will get just the one throw. And the next Widowmine will go down. Good micro with the Observer there to pick that off. Trying to get this Widowmine away, but the Stalkers can chase it. I mean, the only good thing here for Innovation is he kept the medevac alive, right? I mean, he denied some mining time, etc., yes. But keeping the medevac alive, Widowmines get one probe. Just well dealt with from Zest, which, you know, Robo was up, Observer was out. You're kind of expecting, because this is just 5 Stalkers starting to move across to the upper left-hand side.
What did I miss, Wardy?
You missed
Blink.
You missed Blink, and you missed Zest cleaning up a through Widowmine drop, only losing 1 probe.
Oh wow, that's very good. And the nice thing about killing medevacs like that is that now he can actually move out, like with the Stalkers. Usually it's not allowed if there's still a mine drop on the map, but now he can. He can actually do some damage, perhaps.
Trying to blink up in the main. A lot of Depth Shade by into the natural. It's pretty good defense so far from Inno, not really taking damage anywhere, so looking pretty good across the board. As you just see, Zest will seemingly give up with the Stalkers for a moment or so as well. I was just also saying Zest played like quite heavy Stalker counts earlier against Kua. Obviously this is just 5 or so it's not really that crazy at all. Just sitting back and playing a bit more defensive as he gets charge and +1 armor too. Temple Archives moving in towards that Storm. Probably. Been playing a lot of early Storm today too, so...
Yeah, and it's 6 gas already, that's a lot, isn't it? I guess he's playing against a very fast triple CC, so it makes sense, but even then, usually you probably see a faster fourth a lot of the time, especially from Zest, who used to love staying on 3 gas for like years, you know? Like be like 12 minutes in game, still on 3 gas, 9 bases, all mining pure mineral. 34 gates on the map, and 3 upgrades. It's like, actually, that's kind of how Zest used to play for a very long time. And worked absolutely fantastic. To see him so focused on Storm today is a little bit weird, actually. As he is going to, what is it, 10 gates? Yeah, wow. So that means he's planning on staying on 3 base for a little bit at least. As a second forge as well.
Yeah, just second forge up on the natural, so really is just kind of powering up on 3 bases, not wanting to take base number 4. So like you said, it's kind of weird in PvT nowadays, right? Usually I feel like, you know, pros are happy to take their 4th base as the Terran starts to fly at their 3rd. Obviously this is a bit of a faster 3rd, so maybe not so much here, but yeah, this is really like everything possible before, you know, base number 4 in Zest.
Yeah, Raven will be making its way into the main base of Zest. That shouldn't work at all. I'm confused why Inno didn't just kill the Observer with a turret or something, and then just fly home. I mean, this is never gonna work. If you fly into vision against a player of Zest caliber, well, and as I say that, he still managed to get 2 turrets up.
Yeah.
That's actually wild.
Kills the Stalker, he's gonna force a second SCV pull.
Oh my god, this is 8 HP. This is not fair, Wardy. I'm on fire with the calls today. I'm glad I'm here. Oh my!
Oh, Nelly lost the High
Templar.
Templar.
Yeah. If that would have happened, I actually would have just quit. It's like I don't have any valuable input anymore.
I don't think Innovation thinks there's an Observer down here. I think he completely missed it because he's now going to fly his entire drop down for it.
Yeah, I think so. He must have missed it.
Well, that's obviously nice for Zest. You will obviously see this drop coming in, so we'll already start to respond, pulling an army down in towards the main. Obviously the High Templar's coming through. Innovation scans, he sees a few Stalkers on the edge, so he kind of thinks he can maybe go, but as they come a bit closer, he second guesses it, and I think the right decision to back away is now he figures out there's got to be an Observer somewhere. I wasn't convinced that was in the scan, actually. I thought that Observer was going to survive.
Yeah, his remains fell outside of the scan as well, which is sad to see. You have some big storms coming down. There's a lot of mines in this army. It's always scary to walk into mines if you don't have detection. Oh, good blinks. We'll be able to clean up all of those mines. I like that Inno is still producing mines, though. Against such a gateway-focused army, usually it's good. And only once Colossus or Disruptor out do you stop with the mines. It's also splitting his army up in 2 parts. One army will be hitting the 4th base, one army the 3rd.
And he comes in for that 4th base now, but the storms are available, and it's a good storm. Hits a lot of Marines with the second one to get the kills. And as the pylon spots the army in the top, so now Zest knows. Get a warp into Zealots, and that's 10 Zealots he warps into the top right, so he should be able to defend that as Innovation's 4th. Coming up, we'll be online shortly.
Yeah, Inno's actually playing a little bit of a macro game here. 3 more barracks being added, Q2 is halfway done. Big push into that top 3rd base will get pushed away by this single Templar and a bunch of Zealots. Let's see what the other army can do. There's a Stalker that is spotting that little edge, and Immortal is also getting rallied into that army, so lots of vision here for Zest, but not sure if you want to use an Immortal for that. Most of the time, most people just use a Zealot or a Probe, but I guess an Immortal is also fine. It does the job. Oh my god.
They're popular today.
Very popular. Be right back.
As you see the Barrier army coming up the left-hand side is going to be pulling back. Maybe that Scout and Immortal was just born an Immortal, but always was meant to be an Observer. You know, we shouldn't take, you know, positives away from what the Immortals want to be. Anyways, Ghosts coming forwards, and with the Widow Mines as well. Ghosts obviously have those EMPs, and this is a scary army. I mean, if you hit some EMPs, combine that with then the Widow Mines blowing up some Zealots, and suddenly this army from Zest becomes that much weaker. And Zeno's going to start by going down the bottom side now. Hitting the bottom side here. There's a 5th base here. I always feel like pushing down this ramp into this fourth can be very dangerous for the Protoss to deal with, as we see even a couple of tanks coming across for this one. First Disruptors coming out, so this is where the Widow Mines will struggle to do a little bit, and actually going to see 3 Disruptors being built at once, and now they're starting Stargate, so even thinking about going even later into this game. But yeah, 3 Disruptors at once really does add an extra layer to this. You're going to be seeing an Archon picked off on the top, some extra bio units coming over. Again, just Innovation trying to split up from 2 different directions here to make this fight happen. But remember, he's pushing into Disruptor, so this is going to be kind of crazy as he does dodge pretty well. The second Disruptor on the top side kind of passes through everything. More Disruptors firing, and well, the Zealots come in from the top side as well to kind of flank this army, but I feel like Zest has not really got much left. There's only really a few Disruptors left over to kind of actually deal damage. He does get another Ghost with one of them. Still some extra Stalkers on the top as well, and an extra Warp into Stalkers will push this back, but it got a little scary for Zest during that fight.
Yeah, it did indeed. No 3-3 on the way yet for Inno, as he seems to be happy just pushing on. But if there's no tanks and there's this many Disruptors, it's very difficult to push into your opponent. This drop will get spotted by a base, which is also a completely fine scout. There's nothing in the main base actually here for Zest, who is recalling. He was thinking of blinking up. Instead recalls, warps in 8 Zealots, but those are in range of the Ghost and those Marauders. I think Zest will be able to clean it up. But now his 5th base is actually in a little bit of trouble, and there's a big army rotating towards his 3rd, which does have some static defense, but without a Templar there, I think it's just going to fall really quickly against all of those Marauders.
Yeah, just going to be a stim in. Even get some Liberators set up to help with this as well, so this damage output from the Army of Innovation right now is pretty scary. A couple of Vikings even in here, and they're going to start to try and land to help out. We're going to be seeing a couple of Disruptors pretty low HP. Will get cleaned up in the end. The Liberator is getting taken down. Now Innovation rallying his next army to the bottom left, just constantly making Zest go one way then the other. Never kind of, hitting 2 attacks in the same location twice. Just making it so much more difficult for Zest to keep up with. Figure out where he wants to actually warp in units to you. Reposition his units. And his 5th base may very well go down here. There is kind of missing some damage output on this army because it is quite heavy on Ghosts, but looks like it'll be good to get the Nexus at least. These Disruptors will continue to force the bio back, but that will be about it. These Disruptors have to move if these Liberators reposition, obviously, as he's going to start talking them down as he runs forwards. Innovation is going to get rid of all of them apart from this one, which does sort of whiff a little bit. It's a lot of Disruptors he just lost there.
Yeah, meanwhile a double drop on the top side is once again forcing Zest to evacuate this base temporarily. A couple of storms do go down there, but the real problem for Zest, of course, is all these Libs sieging up onto his 4th base. As well, what does he really have against this? Nothing. He can't really jump into Liberators that are sieged up. There's too many Marauders underneath to be able to do that. He's trying to get big hits with Disruptors, but there's also, of course, the threat of dropping into the main base from her. Big link forward will be able to target down a couple of Liberators, but GG gets called. Innovation just wins game number 4 with relative ease, I would say.
Vi kan ju gå före och faktiskt utveckla teknologi som sen kan appliceras i hela världen.